What up, y'all? Morning. Yeah, just did my normal morning contemplative cry, thinking about my little brother. And it's what? We got a month before his anniversary, and I wanted to do a lot of things. Wanted to do a lot of things. And the other day I had a really contemplative time that kind of recentered me. I had a goal of this year to do three things: write my book, increase the size of my school community, build my school community, it's education, and build my release my first app, and it's called the Corey Story. So to honor my brother and honor his fans. It's a multimodal app allowing you to give voice, image, video, text mainly. And I return to you a animated version, a digital version that, for your keepsake. And on the flip side, we will accumulate stories, my brother's legacy, my brother's life in basketball, and kind of all the other things, what he meant to you. Being able to composite a a snapshot of his legacy and what he meant to the world. Now, this is something that, I've been working on for the past year. I definitely have made many different versions. And with technology advancing and my skill set increasing, I'm able to do a couple of different cool things. So right now, all I am is doing is putting a couple of components together and, review some of the code and give you a couple of looks at on the inside of how this thing is building out. Now, why I am so confident is mainly because I'm a five-time tech founder. I have an ad tech company, an AI company, an agriculture company, a blockchain company, and an agent company. Five agents, agencies, agents, autonomous agents that do a lot of work for you. So these are the five things that I built on, and then I have countless NFT projects, crypto projects, and stuff like that. But those are the things that I'm on, and I won't stop there because I've challenged myself to build 52 companies in 52 weeks. So each week I will use my AI platform, Hanzo, and the major AI mindset school to one, build an app, two, go through the process of building it. This is no different than when you start a business. You ideate, you do research, you find an audience, you build an MVP, and then you test it. That right there is pretty simple. Then when you get back feedback, you iterate, and then you market and release again. So the MVP, normally the time when the MVP goes out to when it actually gets out as a full project, that's probably a 3-month window. So normally apps work like it takes about 6 months to build, 7 months to build, and then 3 months to, iterate and release, or a year to iterate and release the full version. But with AI, these things are a little bit shorter. But it is about getting out to the people, touching the people. But what I really want this to be is probably the first submission to a bigger project that my brother and I had spoken about. And that was to highlight and commemorate New York City basketball, the fraternity that we're all a part of. I was first into it whew, by getting kicked out of Catholic school and having to go to public school. And, in order so I didn't have to fight all the time, I joined the basketball team. And that then took me from the South Bronx into where our lives, both my brother and I, our lives changed once we moved No, we didn't move, but once we went to school in Harlem. Now, Harlem basketball, that's where everything changed because I went to go play for Manhattan Center, which was one of the powerhouses in New York State. City champions, city championship appearances, all Americans, all states, famous, tons of famous people. You know, Rich Parker, Wayne Fletcher, you know, Mace, Mason Betha, Cameron Giles, you know, Joel Childs, Franklin Western, David Sweeting, Rob Bass Carter, Walter Berry. You know, like we come from a real, you know, fountain, but it was hard. We had to work a lot. And I knew early that basketball, even though I loved it, it wasn't my lot in life. I was just a good athlete and I was competitive, strong, you know, jump, all of that good stuff. Homicide now, my little bro, he really loved the game. Really, he did. That's all he wanted to do. Nothing else. And that's all he did. Nothing else. And that's great. There's so many people out there that never get to do what they want to do, much less use the game that they love to feed their family, to pad their pockets, to see the world, and to spread our culture. Now, I spoke with my cousin today, and you know, he's just like, yo, bro, you're one dude, I never know where you are. Like, you just get up and go. And I'm like, yeah, because I travel light. He was describing me as a hobo with like a stick and a friggin' bag at the end. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Because I realized that as long as I can build, I could earn money anywhere. So I don't really need to bring any clothes because I can buy shit. And at the end of the day, when you realize you don't really need much to be happy, well then it makes life so much more grand. But I say all of that to say the Corey Story app will be released May 10th. He left me, you know, about 400,000 fans to thank for supporting my brother, for supporting a kid from Harlem, from Uptown, Rice High School, Rucker Park, Homicide. You know, like he just everything that we wanted to do in basketball, he did. Played at the highest heights in different leagues around the world. Played in NBA, yes, 3 different teams, and always was a good time. You know, he and I have had, you know, he's my little brother, so you know he annoys me. But I can tell you this: there's nobody I'm more proud of. Maybe my little cousin Dominic, but there's nobody I'm more proud of than Corey Homicide Williams. He he went for it. Something a lot of you can't do. Something a lot of you don't know how to do. There's way better basketball players than him. But none of y'all really left the impact that he did. So much so, you know, because it's a year now, and there's so many people that are still mourning, grieving, and questioning what happened. What happened? Look, I got a lot of stories, but it's not about me. It's not about my stories, and I'll contribute as well. But one thing I wanted to do is start the honoring sessions. And I feel New York, you should be honored first. You should tell your story because that's where it all started. The dirty streets of the Bronx, you know, our nights going to the Fever, our nights going to Act 3, you know, like Sunday dinners with my grandmother, Oh, when we go to Yankee Stadium, we went to every World Series in the 90s. Shout out to Lee. You know, the thing is like we live in a world now where the people that pass that really something to you don't have to be gone. We live in a world where we can use technology to keep their legacy going, to keep the fans engaged, to keep the wisdom that he had and continue with that. What he was a mentor. He showed you how to get from the Bronx to the globe with basketball, not being in the NBA. Remember, he was the first non NBA player with a signature sneaker. Remember K1X, the 187s, selling at Foot Locker? And then he went on to become the Foot Locker ambassador and the head of culture and design for Foot Locker Asia, New Zealand, Australia. MVP of the league's championship. I mean, listen, I'm not in Bitcoin if my brother doesn't invite me to Beirut in 2012. It's like, wait, what? And the thing is this, most of the things that I'm into, he's definitely not into. We are opposites in a lot of things. But he's my brother. That's my first love. We did so many things together, so many things I forgot. So this is a great exercise to tell your favorite Corey story. You'll get a QR code that'll just come up on social media. That way it's easy to ship around. You scan the QR code, you'll get a form. Fill it out. Comes in, you will be motivated. No, you will be notified. Check your email. You have a clip of your story that you submitted. It's that simple. It's that simple. And hopefully we get to go viral with it. I know Fat Joe got stories of homicide. I know Kareem Reed got stories of homicide. I know A Butter got stories of homicide. Cam got stories of homicide. Hip hop has stories of homicide because you already know if you're not slinging crack, you're shooting jump shots. Biggie said it. We chose to shoot jump shots and go to the rack hard. Pause. But nonetheless, we, as the black men and women and melanated ones of the fraternity that is New York City basketball, are probably some of the most important people in the world to culture, to fashion, to sports, to entertainment, to entrepreneurship, to hustle. Well, all of that. Yo, check this. I mean, so much so. Our swagger is so much so that the NBL, the National Basketball League of Australia, decided. So me and my brother are in his hospital room. And if you know Corey, you know he's a big personality, big prideful. So, he didn't want anybody to see him like this. That was just not what he wanted to do. Now, as much as I am a little more open than he is, I had to respect. So, no calls, no information, none of that. This was my brother's wish. So don't be mad at anybody. But the one thing that happened, the one people group that came in, the couple that came in was the owner of the NBL, Larry, and his wife, Anita. My brother was doing a lot of work with them, and obviously you guys know about the NBL in Australia because of Corey Homicide Williams. LaMelo Ball knows what's up. Like, his voice was so powerful because he put in the work. And you know that he put in the work. So when they came in with us, and they came in with a basketball, I was like, Okay, what are you supposed to do? Shoot it? But we were graceful, we were thankful, and we're privileged because in that room, with us four in that room, they said, you know what? We want to honor you in this league for what you've done. And they said that they are going to create, and they have created an annual award in Corey Homicide Williams' name for the player with the most swagger and the most heart. That is part of his legacy. Because if swagger, and that was a thing in my mind, I'm asking, okay, so I'm asking Larry, I'm like, yo, Larry, I love it, because, you do those compliment sandwiches. I love it. I could see you understand what heart is. Obviously, you're Israeli, you're Jewish. Like, you have an inner drive, right? You know heart. You're a billionaire. But being a billionaire doesn't necessarily make you the arbiter of swagger. So, how are you going to pick the person with the most swagger? Plus, y'all from Australia. What you know about swag? Like, we invented swag. This is where I come in. I'm like, well, look, I'd like to be able to administer that award and help curate my brother's legacy. Now, that was what I said at that point. Now, since then, I realized how much I could do there in Australia versus looking at the real value, because I'm a tech guy. But looking at the real value is his fans. The fans. And he has about 400,000 that follow him, that collect from him, so forth, over his social medias and such. Now, I don't control the social media. Again, Australia is an interesting place, and I wasn't necessarily looked at as next of kin. The person that's known him the longest, no matter what, my little brother. So, as you know, we always do, we'll always find a way, because I know the true value. I know what the wisdom that I've acquired globally. I saw what the true value was, and that's in his name, image, likeness, and his fans. All the other stuff isn't what he is. What he is what he is to you. Submit your Corey story. And we honor our greats. And we're going to honor our greats in a different way, because from somebody like me, I know him in one fashion, two fashions, three fashions, but I don't know my brother fully. A lot of what he has given is his energy to so many people. And all we're asking is you return some of that energy back. So, at the end of this, click whatever line or link there, and it will send you to either the website or to the form, and submit your Corey story, submit your app, submit your name. If you got images, videos, those type of things can be done. Probably won't do it right away, but get those things ready, because I want to know your favorite Corey story.